We are beginning indicators 21 to 24 today, which would be Unit 6. And Unit 6 comprises of your number line, absolute value, coordinate graphing, so, etc. So these are the things that we are going to do in Unit 6. So let's start with indicator 21. There are a couple of learning targets on this one. And your learning targets are, I can identify the correct location for a rational number on a number line. I'll talk to you about what a rational number is in a minute. I can recognize opposite numbers by their locations on the number line and as a reflection. And I can use positive and negative numbers and zero to represent real world problems. Okay, so these are the three learning targets we have here. So let's look at our vocabulary, and we're talking about rational number, positive numbers, negative numbers, opposites, and integers. And basically, a rational number is nothing. It comes from the word ratio, and a number which can be made by dividing two integers. And an integer is nothing but a number that has no fractional part, okay? So by dividing two integers, so a number which has no fractional part, that's how you get a rational number, okay? So if I say, for example, I say 1/2. Okay, if I say 1/2, it's 1 divided by 2, or the ratio of 1 to 2. This is a rational number. If I say 75/100, okay, because look what's happening, it's ending. Even if I have a fractional part, it is ending, because if I do 75/100, it is what? This is equal to 3/4 in the simplest form. So a decimal that is ending is basically what a rational number is. 1 is a rational number, okay, because this is what? 1/1. Okay, 2 is a rational number because I can write it as 2/1. 2 and 1/12 is a rational number. 2 and 1/12 is a rational number because this is what? This is 212/100. Okay, so these numbers which have a terminating decimal, or it's a whole number like this, like when I say 1/1, or if I say 2, 2 is a rational number because 2/1, and if I say 2 and 1/12, that's basically 2 whole, and 12/100. And so if I had written it as an improper fraction, it would be 212/100. But when I'm dividing and I get a terminating decimal, that means a decimal that ends, it is a rational number, okay? An irrational number is something like pi. Okay, and I know that when we are showing the value of pi, normally we round it to the 100th place value and say 3 and 1400 is the value of pi. But it's irrational because after the decimal, the numbers do not end. It keeps going and going and going. So that's an irrational number. But when we talk about rational numbers, they are numbers that can be made by dividing two integers. Okay, so I just want to understand what a rational number is, because we'll be working a lot with these. Okay, a positive number is any number which is greater than 0. Any number that is greater than 0 is a positive number, and you can write it with a positive sign. I mean, if I say +5, you can write it like this. You can also just write it, let's say I say 10,000, for example. If you don't put a sign in front of a number, it basically means it is a positive number. Okay, so numbers which are greater than 0 are positive numbers. Okay, negative numbers are numbers which are less than 0. These are always written with a negative sign. So if I have +5, a negative would be -5, and this would be -10,000. So for the negative numbers, you've got to put the negative sign in the beginning of the number is telling you it's a number which is less than 0. Okay, opposites. Opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line. So if I say this is 0, and I know on the right of 0 I have positive numbers, so 1, 2. On the left I have negative numbers. And I need you to remember one thing. Think of 0 as the mirror. And when you look into the mirror, basically you're seeing a reflection of yourself at the same distance from the mirror. Okay, so that's what 0 is like. Okay, a 0 acts like the mirror reflection, and whatever the distance of a number is from 0, let's say on the right side. So distance from 0 to this over here is 2 spaces, right? So I have to look on the other side of 0, the same distance. So 1, 2, opposite of 2 is negative 2. Opposite of negative 10 is going to be positive 10. Opposite of 1 million is negative 1 million. So basically you're looking at the same distance from 0 on the other side of the number line to find out what is the opposite of a certain number. Okay, then 0 is its own opposite, because when you think of, like, if I ask you what is the opposite of 0, it's its own opposite, because 0 is neither a positive or a negative number. Okay, so it's neither positive nor negative. 0 is 0. It's its own opposite, has no sign. Okay, now integer, and I just told you earlier what an integer was. It is a set of whole numbers and their opposites. So when I say whole number, a whole number is any number which does not have a decimal or a fractional part. So whole numbers are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and carries on, but there's no fractional part attached to it. Okay, so integers are whole numbers and their opposites. So if I'm saying take the whole number 10, opposite is negative 10. So it is a set of negative and positive without a fractional part. That would be an integer. Okay, so having said that, let's go ahead and solve some problems based on these. So the first thing you need to understand is the vocabulary as to when is a number positive, when is a number negative, and when to write that. Because if you don't write the positive sign where it's supposed to be, or where you don't put the negative sign, there would be an issue. Okay, so let's say I have a question where it's saying a contestant gains 250 points on a game show. So when you're gaining something, all right, so when you're gaining something, it is increasing. It is something which is going to be a positive integer. So if it says a contestant gains 250 points on a game show, write a positive or negative integer that represents the situation. So you could write positive 250 because that is a gain. Okay, because that's a gain. You can write it like this, or if you just wrote 250, that also means a positive integer. Okay. Next question. Gasoline freezes at 40 degrees below 0. So if I'm saying it's going below 0, think about the winter and how cold it gets when it's below 0. And so that means the temperature is going to be in the negatives if it's going below 0. Okay, so if you hear below 0, we know that it's going to be negative. And if you're saying 40 degrees below 0, so negative 40. This is how you're going to write it. So negative 40. That is how you're going to write that integer. If I say a balloon floats 5 feet above the ground, okay? So when I'm saying 5 feet above the ground, above the ground. So this becomes 5. You can write 5 or positive 5. Both are correct. Okay? An anchor is 15 feet underwater. So underwater means like always think of the water surface as 0. Above the water surface is positive. Going down is going to be negative. So if I'm saying is 15 feet underwater, that is going to be negative 15 because it is underwater. Okay, so that's what makes it a negative answer. So please remember that. Okay, the one that children kind of struggle on is because you don't have too much of insight about banking. And there's a question where, let's say I tell you, you take $50 out of your pocket and you deposit it into a bank. Is that positive or negative? And very often children write negative because they think that the money has gone from their pocket, but that is not correct, guys. When you are putting money into your savings account or any, checking account, whatever, in the bank, you are actually saving the money. So it is a positive integer. Please remember that whenever you're taking money from your pocket, cash, and you're saving it into a bank account that you have, that's a positive integer. So if I said you were taking money from your pocket, putting it into your bank, what kind of an integer is that? Let's say you took $50, that would be positive 50. Okay, remember in banks, in the savings account and all, you also earn a certain amount of interest. So that is why, you're saving it, you're putting it in the bank, it's a positive integer, not negative. Doesn't matter if it left your pocket, it's still being saved into the bank. So that's one thing I really need you to remember. Okay, a hiker climbs 900 feet up a mountain. So up means positive, so it'll be positive 900 feet. Okay, you have a debt of $24, so you owe money, so that would be negative 24. Okay, a student loses 5 points for being late to class, so you're losing points, so that would be negative 5 points. Okay, a savings account earns $10, so it's earning money, so that's a positive 10. Okay, so remember, like, these are the keywords which will tell you up, down, losing something, gaining something. So these are the things that you need to focus on, the words. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to graph an integer and its opposite. Okay, so graphing an integer and its opposite. So let's say it asks you to graph 3. Okay, so graph 3 and its opposite. So first and foremost, you need to remember you need a number line. For any form of graphing on a number line, you need a number line. Please do it in a systematic manner, how I'm about to show you. Okay, so straight line. Since it's a line, it's going to have arrows on both ends, which means it's going on in an infinite manner. Okay, it's not ending. If it was ending, it would be a line segment. Okay, but it's not ending. That is why it's got the arrows at the two ends. Okay, put your 0 and please make your lines like this. Numbers should not be floating in space like this. This makes 0 sense because we don't know where these numbers are on the number line. You have got to put this little line like this telling you where it is. Keep equal distances amongst those numbers. Okay, so on the right of 0 on the number line, we have positive numbers. Okay, on the left of 0 on the number line are negative numbers. So please remember, I told you that 0 is like a mirror. So if I have 1, same distance from 0 on the other side is going to be the opposite of 1, which is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. So these are negative numbers. Okay, please remember 0 is neither negative nor positive. And remember, 0 is its own opposite. Okay? So now if I'm graphing 3, just want to show you, so, you're going to have this. Please remember, you go to where 3 is. Do not be putting dots above the number line in space like that. We are not making a box and whisker plot, okay? It's got to be on the number line. So you go to 3 and you put a dot, circle it so we can see. If you don't do that, you don't get credit because then you haven't graphed anything. And then if you're doing the opposite of 3, so if this is the distance to 3, same distance on the other side from 0 is the opposite, so that is going to be -3. So I just graphed 3 and -3. Now let's say I had to graph -2 and its opposite. So in this I would do, all right, I'm just going to do it on the same graph so you can see. So here is -2 over here to the left of 0, because on the left of 0 are the negative numbers and to the right are the positive numbers. And so if -2, so this is my distance from 0. So I have to look at the same distance from the other side. So the opposite of -2 would be 2. Okay, so this is how we graph on a number line. Next thing I want to talk to you is about some real world or real life applications, because that's what your this one is. I can use positive, negative numbers and 0 to represent real world quantities. Okay, so here is the question. All right. So you deliver flowers to an office building. Okay, you deliver flowers to an office building. You enter at ground level and go down 2 floors to make the first delivery. Okay, so here we go. Here's your, just think of this as your ground level. Okay, so ground level we are going to consider as 0. So because you enter at ground level. Okay, this is your ground level. Remember, anything underground or you're going under, that is going to be negative. Anything above that ground level will be positive. Okay, so we are going to use a vertical line to make it easy for us, because a number line can also be written like this. Okay, above 0, let's think of the ocean, for example. The water surface is 0, above is positive, below you're going deep, it's negative. So that's why we always use above or below. Okay, so in this case, since this is 0, I'm going to write this over here. Please write the same, make the same distance, 3, 4. Okay, so this is, and put the number on the left of the number line. Okay, so get used to this because you'll be doing this in coordinate graphing also. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then below will be the opposite, which is opposite of 1 is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. Okay? Now, so you're entering at ground level, which is 0. Okay, here is my 0. And then you are going 2 floors down. Okay, so you're going 2 floors down. So I'm going to start here, ground level, go 1, 2 floors down. Okay, you deliver the flowers and then you go up 7 floors. Now guys, please remember, you are not now starting at 0, because where are you? You are on the 2nd floor below ground. So from there now you're going to go up 7, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you reached here. Then it's saying write an integer that represents the return to ground level. So now, right now, where are you? You went down 2 floors, then you went up 7 floors. So you are in the positive 5. Please don't write positive 5 as your answer because it's asking, write an integer that represents the return to ground level. So in order to return to ground level, I have to start at 5 and go down 5. Okay, so your answer would be negative 5. Okay, answer would be negative 5. Let's do one last one. Okay, so you start a game with 10 points. So I'm just going to show you, you could definitely use a number line, but I am just going to go ahead. All right, you start with 10 points, so that's positive. Okay, you gain 4 points. Gain means what? Plus. So when you gain 4 points, it is plus 4. So this becomes 14. Okay, and then lose 7 points in the second round. So you gain 14 and then you are now losing. Losing means minus 7. So I have 7 now. After the third round, your total score is 10. So write an integer that represents how many points you gained or lost in the third round. So you had 7 here. So what do I need to do? What will give me 10? The plus 3. So my answer would be positive 3 is what I would need in order to, which is the integer which will help me make a total of 10. So, all right. So again, remember what I'm saying. You start a game with 10 points. You gain 4 points. So now total is this much. Then you lose 7 points. Losing means minus 7. So you have 7 points. After the third round, your total is 10 points. So what is the integer that represents how many points you gained or lost in the third round? So to make it 10, I had 7. I would have to add 3, which is positive 3. Okay, so basically this is what your lesson is about, graphing and knowing the vocabulary as to whether it's positive, whether it's negative, what is an opposite of a number. So remember, opposite is a number which is the same distance from 0 on the number line on the opposite side. Okay, so if I say opposite of 10,000, it would be negative 10,000. All right, so that's what indicator 21 is about. Have a great day, guys.